This legislation has already been passed in other states, specifically addressing an Article 5 convention for our COS resolution. Some of the historical precedent that Frank Vaughn and John Grabowski are referring to is state law, for those states, not Colorado. The great thing about the states running a convention to propose constitutional amendments is that each state is free to rule themselves, and that process is perfect for our COS objectives, which is the states uniting and taking ownership of the nation as a whole and holding our federal government accountable to the states. Makes sense. We could show the world what a nation of free states truly looks like when we execute the power to rein in our own federal government.
You know, Frank, I think one of the things that's really positive for our volunteers and our activists to know is that the 34 ready legislation among the 19 states that have passed the resolution, more than a dozen have passed this legislation.
Absolutely.
In various forms. And we have another like half dozen that have it under consideration.
Yes.
The great advantage for us is we don't have to start from scratch. We don't have to make it up. We can learn from the other states.
Absolutely.
And that really helps things move along. You know, we're learning from experience. You've done some great research into what each of the states has done. Why don't you give us some examples of things that you learned that you think will be applicable for Colorado?
Yeah. So the first conversation is the number of delegates that would actually attend. There's a financial consideration there.
That's
that's
right.
Some states have swung to 9 delegates.
Wow.
Right. There are some that are at the 5 range, right? So it swings all over the place, and that's the beauty of this, is each state gets to do their own thing, and they craft this legislation, codify it into law, so it becomes theirs. Some other questions within the legislation would be, how do you remove a delegate if the legislation or if they're not in session? How do they do that? What is that mechanism?
Oh, that's a great point.
Right?
Yeah.
So there have been some states that have actually created a committee that is in charge of those delegates, okay, when Congress or when the representatives are not in session, right? So it's those types of nuances that you don't really think about until it actually happens.
Right.
And the beauty of it is we can go look at all of those other individuals, all those other states that have started to create this process, and we can learn from that.
Right. And there's a great application here in Colorado to that last point, having a commission or committee that is year-round, because our legislature meets for 4 months. They have standing committees who meet for 4 months, but then they have year-round committees and what they call interim committees that meet as needed.
Absolutely.
So a commission or a committee set up to oversee the commissioners could be an interim committee with proper representation, and they're called into session whenever it's needed, anytime during the year. So it fits well with this structure we already have in Colorado.
And that can all be codified
within
that law.
Right.
That's the beauty of this. There's a lot of structure to it.
Right. Any other examples that you discovered that might have surprised you, where the other states went?
Some states, it surprised me that they were very vague. Which,
interesting.
Yeah, I don't really understand how well that's going to work. But there's a lot of you can read a lot into that law that they crafted.
And
I prefer to swing to the other side where you've got a lot of specificity in that actual law, and you can think through those processes.
Right.
Because there will be things that pop up that we don't anticipate.
Right.
And we need to be able to adapt to them.
But you can understand to an extent why they would keep some of it vague, not as specific. They wanted to give the legislators freedom. They want to give them flexibility. They didn't want to dictate to them. But at the same time, that's a tough balance to strike. Because I'm like you.
Yeah.
I want A to E, and not just A.
But that's the beautiful thing about the particular state legislature. They can be as specific as they feel they need to be. And that's the beauty of this actual legislation, is it gives them that ability.
Yeah. Good point.
Yep.
Great example.
States such as North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and South Dakota have what Tennessee calls faithful commissioner laws, also known as 34 ready legislation. Colorado volunteers are very serious about educating our state legislature about this process, and we're determined to continue until the job gets done.